Hey everybody, it's Kate, the West Coast Paper Crafter. You are joining me from Issouk, Vancouver Island, Canada, from my craft room. It is Monday, October 21st, and tonight I am going to show you how to make this angle cut card. Some of you have already seen it because I posted a reel on Friday with this card design, but we're going to do it again in a full tutorial tonight using some coming soon products that Stampin' Up is going to release in November. So one of the perks I get for being a demonstrator is I can pre-order some of the things that are coming, and this set is one of them, and it is very cute. So I am going to flip the camera around and we'll get started. Hey Karen, thanks for tuning in. All right. Hey buddy, I see you. Thanks for tuning in. Arthur Morgan is my son. That's not his real name. That is his Facebook fake name. Hi, Chelsea. Thanks for tuning in. That's really kind of you to say. I appreciate your comment. All right, I'm going to flip the camera around. All right, here we go. Okay, so sometimes my Zoom works. Most times tonight it's working really well. I got to fix that. Sorry, guys. Close your eyes. This is getting crazy. Let me see. I'm just going to try to fix that because it zoomed in way too much. That's better. All right. Yes, I am technically challenged. This is the truth. Okay. I think that's better. I apologize for anybody who just got dizzy watching me try to flip my camera around. The struggle is real, ladies. The struggle is real. Okay, so this is the Otterly Adorable Suite, brand new. I just got it on a pre-order, so this will be available in November, and it comes with the Otterly Amazing stamp set and some Lost Lagoon soft cording, which I think is really beautiful. Riverside Irregular Pearls. You know what I love about this? This is just the tiniest little pack of embellishments, and it's just perfect to pop in a card if I wanted to send somebody a little gift. I like that. It comes with a set of dies that also will cut out some of the images in the paper. And the paper is, well, utterly adorable. So we have got 2 sheets of each design. So I'll just quickly show you. Some of you, this is old news. If you caught my unboxing video, I already flipped through it. So sheet number 1, we've got a whole bunch of different otters. And the back side is a nice blue, I guess, water pattern. Hey Cindy, hi Nancy, and hello Jody. Thanks for tuning in. This is one big picture, which I mentioned during my unboxing that I have no idea what to do with this kind of paper, but my friend Nikki has come up with a really good idea. So stay tuned for that. Then the back side is a bunch of different colors in what I think is river rock, but I could be wrong. And we've got another sheet with all sorts of little otter images and goldfish. And then this, oops. My husband came in and he slammed the door so hard it shook my phone. And he's downstairs. I'm upstairs. Anyway, I think my craft room must be right over the door. So this sheet, we've got some goldfish and some seaweed, I guess. Some seaweed. Another sheet, I really love these colors, the Lost Lagoon and the Pretty Peacock and Old Olive together. I think that's so sharp. And tonight's project, I'm using some of this paper. And then the back side is just more of a water design. Some more Otterly Adorable Critters. Look at that one. Oh my gosh. I think that might be my favorite, where he's sitting up in the cattails, he or she, I don't know which one. And then we've got a darker background that's marbled. And lastly, a whole bunch of goldfish or different fish in various colors, which I like as well. And more otter images. So there's a lot happening. This is really cute. And I wasn't even going to get it. I had zero plans to pick this up on the pre-order until my friend Carolyn mentioned how cute it was, and then I had to take another look, and I decided She was right. She was right. Okay, so for tonight, if you are crafting along, you definitely need your paper trimmer, and I would recommend glue dots or something that's not very tacky for when we do some cutting on 3 different layers. So I've got, oh, thanks, Chelsea. I just saw your comment. It is super cute. All right, now, early espresso. Our card base is 4¼ by 11. I'm going to raise my camera up just the slightest. 4¼ by 11. It's scored and folded at 5½ on the long side. Then we have got 2 pieces of Lost Lagoon. These are 5 by 3¾ I've got a piece of the designer series paper from the Otterly Adorable Suite, and this is 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. Don't worry about writing this down because I will post the photo measurements in the comments after this live. I haven't been getting in the habit of doing that, so I'll change that for you. So if you're trying to craft along and you're scrambling to write down the measurements and you missed my measurement post, I'm just going to throw that in the comments after the live. So if you're new or if you don't visit my page very often, on Sunday, usually in the evening, I will post a photo with all the measurements for today's project. And then if you like to craft along, you can cut all your paper and be ready to go. All right, I'm very chatty tonight, obviously. Hi, Nancy. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, and this white piece for the inside, again, 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. All right, all the measurements, I will throw them in a photo comment. If you're catching this replay on Facebook, that's where they'll be. If you are watching on YouTube, the measurements I will write out in the description of the video. All right, I've got 2 die cuts from the Nested Essential Dies. I think that's my favorite die set. I use it all the time. This is Pretty Peacock and this is Old Olive. If you don't have the Nested Essential Dies, you can cut your paper to 2¼ by 3. All right, let's get going. So what we're going to do is start out by layering a piece of the Lost Lagoon onto our early espresso, and then we're going to layer the designer series paper right on top of that. I am going to take 1 glue dot and I'm going to put it on the back of my Lost Lagoon, just 1. And I am going to make sure that the edge of my Lost Lagoon is flush to the edge of the early espresso card front. And then I'm just going to press it down a little bit, not too hard. Glue dots aren't super tacky, so you shouldn't have any problem releasing your layers once we cut them. If you feel comfortable that you can hold your paper together while you cut through, then go for it. But I will never keep it straight. All right, so I've put another glue dot. I don't know if you can see that. Just 1 glue dot on my designer series paper. Now this paper is directional, so my card is going to be, it's going to open up like this. So I just want to be aware, if you're using directional paper, just be aware of that. Now I'm lining this up again so it's flush to the edge of the card. And then I'm just going to press down a little bit. All right, now grab your paper trimmer. I don't have any measurements for how deep my angle is going to be. I am going to wing it. So what I do want to do is cut off maybe about 1 inch or a little bit less off the top of my card flap. And then my angle is going to be wider as I go down the card, if that makes any sense. So you just eyeball it. You want it at an angle. So I'm going to go in. I've got this top corner is at 3 3/4. And then the other corner is just a smidge over 1½. But it's up to you how aggressive you want to get with your angle, if that's a thing. Can we get aggressive with our angle cutting? Oh, Brenda, thanks. I'm glad you're excited to catch the live tonight too. I'm happy you tuned in. Oh, Chelsea says she read a tip about using regular tape, putting it on your jeans a couple times so it's not as sticky. That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So what you want to do is give your blade some pretty good pressure because we're cutting through 3 layers. And I would suggest you go back and forth over it. So I'm going to cut once and I'm going to go back up again. And then I'm just going to run it through a few times to make sure that's actually cut. The first time I tried this card, I didn't cut all the way through. It wasn't the end of the world. I was able to salvage it, but I didn't want to do that on a live because, it would look like I don't know what I'm doing. And sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. So my glue dots did rip a little bit of the paper. However, that doesn't matter because I'm going to cover that up anyway. So now we're just taking our layers apart, and the designer series paper and the Lost Lagoon will have a very small border. There's not a lot of border. I don't even know, maybe that's 1/16 of an inch. It's just I don't even know if you can see it, but you do have just a smidge of a border, and there'll be more border with the early Expresso. So I am going to just glue this down. Hey Janice, thanks for tuning in. Right, Karen, I will be aggressive with my cutting. This bottle of glue is driving me crazy. It is full, and it doesn't want to work. So I just grabbed a little needle, which is what I like to do when it dries up, and I stab into my glue and I try to get it going again. But it has been the most temperamental bottle of glue, and it's full. I give up. I'm going to go to my old one. I'm going to have to take the nozzle off, and I'm going to dump all the glue into a bottle of glue that wants to behave itself. That's my plan tonight. Thank you, Tanya. I will be aggressive. Hi, Sheila. Thanks for tuning in. Tanya, I'm glad to see you because I was thinking about you. I treated my friend Tanya to a very late birthday lunch today at a restaurant that I really like, that we didn't realize was fully vegan. Anyway, Tanya was not feeling very vegan today, and the waitress suggested that she get an eggs benny as an alternative. So that led both Tanya and I to believe that the eggs benny was real eggs and was not actually vegan. Well, anyway, Tanya gets her birthday lunch, and it's not a real egg, and it definitely wasn't real ham. It did not look very good. Anyway, that was kind of the funny story about our lunch today, with the waitress coming up with a really good idea for someone who wasn't feeling like they wanted a vegan lunch. So if you go to the meet, I think it's on Hillside and Blanchard in Victoria, and the waitress tells you if you don't feel like vegan, you go ahead and get an eggs benny. It's not a real egg, and you're still eating vegan. But on the plus side, the ginger beefless bowl is delicious, and it is a really close comparison to actual ginger beef. I really like it. I know, right, Janice? It was totally fake eggs benny. Anyway, so while I've been chatting away, I matted my white layer. Now this was 4 7/8 by 3 5/8 onto my Lost Lagoon layer. That's 5 by 3 3/4. So this piece I'm going to glue to the inside of the card. I can't even be aggressive with my glue because this glue bottle isn't behaving itself either. I'm just not having the right day. So before I press down on my inside layer, I'm just moving it slightly. That's the beauty of Tombow. I have a little bit of wiggle room, and making sure that my Lost Lagoon borders are lining up. So not the end of the world if you forget to do that, but if you remember, it's just a nice little added touch to have everything aligned, if that makes any sense. Okay, yes, of course. We always have a lovely chat, Tanya, always. Um, Tanya is my therapist and she doesn't even get paid for it. If you need therapy, Tanya's your girl. I'm telling you, I need to set up a booth like Lucy in Peanuts with 5 cents for some psychiatric help. And Tanya, you would make a killing. You could retire. You could retire early. All right, I'm going to stamp one of the sentiments from this new Otter stamp set, and it says, "You're utterly amazing." That's hilarious. So I've never stamped with this before. What I like to do with my photopolymer stamps that are brand new before I use them, sometimes they have a bit of a film on them, and if you stamp them right away, they might look a little bit spotty. So I like to scuff them up, right? So I'll scuff them up on my hand or on my jeans. Who are we kidding? I don't wear jeans. I wear stretchy pants. I scuff them up on my stretchy pants or my hand. And then I'll just do a little practice stamp on a scrap piece of paper and make sure it's looking good. Now, this flap is going, I don't want it to cover my sentiment, and my sentiment is just about too big. So when I stamp this, I'm going to stamp it in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to stamp as close to the bottom of the white layer as I can get, so that sentiment isn't hidden by the flop of the card. It's a little bit easier when I can get my head right over the card, but my camera's in the way, so I'm going to wing it. Not bad. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. Nailed it. Now, some of you who watched my live last week when I did that with the snail stamp and you said I snailed it, that was so funny. And I will never forget that. It's just so funny. All right, I've got a little goldfish stamp that I thought would be really cute to add to the inside of the card. And I'm just going to add them, I'm going to stamp them in peach pie. Yeah, there. That's so cute. You know what? I love it. I'm going to do one in the top corner too. Why not? Okay, so that is it for the basic part of this card. Now, I was at a scrapbooking store on the weekend and I was snooping around at some of the dies and things that are sold in the scrapbooking store, and I refrained from buying anything because I have so much of my own craft supplies. But some of the dies I had envy. Like, there were so many dies with all these beautiful layers, and it was driving me crazy because they were just so cute, but I didn't want to buy anymore because I have so much of my own stuff. Anyway, when I really got into this set, I realized there's a ton of layers that I can add to this card right from the dies that come in this suite. So I cut out a whole bunch of pieces, and let's just see how it works out tonight. I don't know if I'll use them all, but I cut out a lot. So I'm just inking up one of the images from the stamp set in Tuxedo Black, and I'm stamping on a scrap piece of paper. And then this is the painful and tedious part, is coloring in all the images. So I have got some Old Olive. I'm going to use some light Old Olive, and I am going to color in the white space in between these two little, I'm going to call them love otters. They're all cuddly and sweet and cute, like otters are. If you're lucky enough to see an otter in real life, they are just as adorable as you would think. We have them on Vancouver Island. Occasionally I'm lucky enough to see one when I'm out on a dog walk. All right. Oh, Cindy, you got your snail stamp today. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Dark Old Olive for the greenery. And you know, I was thinking I was going to add some blue for the sky, and I left that blend downstairs. Yes, I'm still in the transition of moving into my craft room. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm such I'm so slow at these kind of things. Like, you know what I'm slow at? It's organizing. So there will be no blue background behind these otters, simply because I forgot to grab the blue blend. All right, so now I'm just using the bullet tip because this greenery behind the otters is pretty little. And if I used my brush tip, then it's very likely that my ink is going to bleed. All right, so here's the fun part of the otters, is coloring them in. So otters they're two-tone. So I am going to use some light crumb cake, and right under I'm going to use my brush tip actually. So otters have, well, I shouldn't say all, the otters I've seen are two-tone, and they have a lighter fur that kind of comes up their face a little bit, and then down their chest and down their belly. And then the rest of their fur is a little bit darker. So I don't have any lines to tell me where that is, so I'm gonna wing it. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of crumb cake on this one's belly. And then for this otter, I'm gonna give him some crumb cake that just kind of comes up under his eye. And if you get the set and you're wondering, you know, how are you going to color in those two different shades, just take a look at the designer series paper and it'll show you how to do it. All right, so I've got his belly, I've got his throat, and his face just under his eye. All right, now I would like one to be a totally different shade. So this one that's getting snuggled. Yes, buddy, we did see an otter at Patchadat. You're totally right. All right, so now I'm going to use dark crumb cake for the one otter on the bottom, and I'm just going to color in without going over the light crumb cake that I have already done under the otter's face and for her chest area. So around the back, I'm just going to add a little bit more color. So there is some shading with just my dark crumb cake. You can actually build your colors so there's some shading without using both light and dark. And that's what I'm doing with this one. So I will add more color down here, but I'll go back over the curve of her back. And it's just going to make that area just the slightest bit darker. So when you look at this, I'll hold it up for you and you'll be able to see, and you'll be able to tell that the brush strokes can look a little bit uneven. And trust me when I tell you, this image just needs a little bit of drying time. And once it dries, the colors seem to blend better. I think Stampin' Blends are like magic. So I don't know if you can see that, but from my eye, the back of this otter is just the slightest bit darker than the rest of her body, and I've shaded it in using one color of Stampin' Blend. So handy. Now for this other otter, which I think it's the he, but it could be the she, I'm going to use a totally different color, and I have got a light pecan pie. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to go over this otter. I'm going to add more color to the back and where the tail curves around. And trust me, I'm not a coloring expert, but I think if you just practice a little bit with Stampin' Blends, you don't have to be an expert. It does the hard work for you. So if you don't like how it looks, maybe it is a little bit patchy, just go over it again with some light brush strokes, but let it dry in between adding color. If you keep adding color when the paper's wet, then it might bleed over your stamped line. So if I was going to go over this otter entirely with a second coat of color, then I would have put it aside for just a minute to let that dry, otherwise it could bleed. All right, so now there's a die that will cut this out. Yeah, Chelsea, I get it. It is, there's a lot of colors to choose from, and if you're building your collection, I would suggest that depending on what you're coloring, I always started with a collection of colors first. I think I started with the subtle collection and I added all the Stampin' Blends, and then I went to the brights, and then I added the natural tones. Anyway, I built my collection, and I'm not even embarrassed to say it. I have it all, but it took me a while to do that because they're expensive, and I cherish them and I take really good care of them. So, all right, so here is the colored image. It's a little bit spotty. When it dries, you will not see those lines. And this is the one I've already colored in and cut out. Oh, see, now you know my secret. This is how I write myself notes. I write them on my hand. I am busted. Oh, Lisa, hi. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I cut out with my Envy from the scrapbook store with all their amazing dies. I cut out a bunch of different pieces of the seaweed, I guess, or the greenery. And these I cut out in Lost Lagoon. And then I did the other ones in Old Olive. There are some little river rocks that you can cut out as well, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use them. And then I thought what I would do is kind of like what I've done before with a snowdrift. I'm just going to freehand a little bit of green space to glue right down on my pretty peacock. So I'm giving these otters some ground to sit on, and then I'm going to glue them up on there. All right, let's see if my glue behaves. Oh, did I had a spot? I didn't even know that. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, glue's working. I have 2 glue bottles in my add to cart that I'm going to hit send on later tonight. I'm just waiting for the Potion and Spells dies to come back in stock, which is supposed to be anytime this week, and then I'm getting new glue. All right, so I'm gluing on my grass. And then I'm going to add these guys, and then I think I'll just add the greenery right behind this layer. So I think I'll just glue these guys on actually. I was going to pop them up, but I will not do that. All right, so I just want to make sure I don't put glue on any piece that's going to overhang. So I'm not going to put glue on this edge and this edge, but the rest I'm going to glue. This is just so foreign for me to not have a ton of glue on the back of my paper. Maybe my glue bottles are teaching me a lesson to stop being so glue aggressive. Okay, all right, so this goes here. I've got a little bit of glue smudge, which is totally fine because I will add some river rocks wherever I put them. Now I don't know where I put them. I will add them, but if I don't find my river rocks, oh, there they are. I'm dropping stuff. There we go. I'm going to add some river rocks underneath these otters. These are really pretty. I should probably use my take your pick tool. All right, yes, you know what, Cindy, this is really cute, and I can't believe I wasn't even going to get this set. I wasn't into it. So, Carolyn, if you catch this on a replay, then thank you for bringing this very cute otter set to my attention, and we'll make some stuff when you're back from your trip. All right, so I've just added 3. I know, Karen, I know what you're saying. You want more. I'm just going to go 3. And then I think what I'll do is I'm going to pop this up and add some of the soft cording. Maybe I think I'll tie a bow right around the front of the card, and then just going to tape down some of these seaweeds. Yeah, that's my plan. All right, so I really didn't have a big idea of how I was going to put this card together. I just knew that it needed lots of pieces. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab my tear and tape and I'm going to stick that down. If I can find the edge of it. What is going on? Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm just going to stick that there. I like it. I'm going to add a little piece of green right in between these two with my tear and tape. All right, not bad. It's cute. I need a little more tear and tape. All right, and then I think I'll add some on this bottom corner. And of course, my last two pieces of green. This is a little longer than I normally take on a Monday night, so I'm getting crazy with this super cute card set, or suite set, I mean. It's just too cute. So if you cannot wait to order this when it's available in November, you can actually take advantage of the joining special that is on until the end of the month, no matter what country you're in. There's a really good special where you can pick up more product for the regular starter kit, which in Canada it's $135. I'm not too sure what it is in other countries, but you can add $206 in product to your starter kit for only $135 Canadian. Usually you can add $165 in product for your starter kit and you still pay $135, but this month they've kind of upped it. And that's a pretty good deal. So if you really love this suite, then you could join up and put it in your starter kit if you wanted to. All right, now I think this deserves to be popped up on my card front, and then we will add some of the Lost Lagoon soft cording, and this card will be done. So while I am pulling the backings off, I just thought I would mention that my next free card class at home will feature the Reindeer Days suite. I think it's a good time to do that in November. So if you need to make Christmas cards, then that might work out. All right, so here's the card front. And the last thing I want to do is just add some of this corded ribbon. So I'm pretty generous with how much I cut because I want to be able to tie it in a nice bow. And my greenery is in the way, so I'm going to tie the bow to the left side of the card. If I had my reverse tweezers, it would be really handy. Oh, thanks, Chelsea. For the States, it's $99 and you get $150 in product. Perfect. Thank you. Anyway, it's a good time. It's always a good time to join. I mean, it's a good deal whether it's a special or not, but it just depends how much crafting stuff you're going to buy, right? I like to tell people, you know, if you don't have a ton of stuff and you don't need a discount right away, it's nice to wait for these specials because they do happen once or twice a year. And you never know what it's going to be. So this is a pretty good one. Last January, the special was, it was a glass mat that came with the starter kit, and The glass mat is awesome. I love it. All right, so here is our Otterly amazing angled card. So I hope you guys like it. And if you make this design, I'd love to see what you come up with. So post pictures if you make this. And this was the one that I did for Friday's reel. It opens up in landscape versus portrait, but so you can do that either way. It just depends on what you want to do. All right, so I think that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm going to flip this camera around and say goodnight. So if you are catching the replay on Facebook, I am going to post in the comments a picture with all the measurements. If you're catching the replay on YouTube, you can find the measurements in the video description. If you catch the replay, just say hello, tell me where you're from. I love to know where everybody is when you catch my videos. So I hope you like these cards. And oh, I almost forgot. If you missed it, I did post my Potions and Spells card class at home. It is free and it is available. You can find it on my Facebook page. There's 3 different video tutorials. You can find the links on my Facebook page or just go to my YouTube channel and you'll find it there as well. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you have a really good night and I'll see you next Monday.